Hi, my name is Sutton Haye. I'm an 18-year-old economics student from Dallas, Texas. I've been lifting weights since I was 13 years old, training as a strongman for over a year, and I've been training people for the past year. This article is not here to sell you a product or a program. The core of my message is that of training that takes decades, a knowledge that requires sacrifice, and absolutely no shortcuts for those who want to be great. I am by far a beginner in the world of lifting. I boast only a 365-pound squat, 415-pound deadlift, and 295-pound bench at a height of 6'3" and a normal weight of about 240 pounds. So, if numbers on a record board are the metric by which you determine credibility, then this article isn't for you. But, for those of you who do stay, I hope to demonstrate a broad and growing knowledge about strength training, and hopefully pass on some knowledge that will help you reach your goals. And with that, let's begin. One of the central questions in economics is, how does one determine value? The simple answer is that value is determined by the price someone is willing to pay. The true value of an item isn't known until the sale happens. Sticker price is usually very close to the actual price or value, but it does not meet the same definitional standard. To translate this into personal terms, the value you have for your goals is only manifested by the price you're willing to pay to obtain those goals. The only way to show how much you value your dream body is by measuring the amount of time, stress, money, etc. that you are willing to pay to attain that body. In other words, success is determined by value. The people who will be the most successful in bodybuilding, powerlifting, strongman, etc. are the ones who value it the most. The first responses to this claim will ring in one of three ways. People will first cry genetics, claiming that no matter their effort, they will not be able to beat the genetically gifted. You have no idea what your genetics are. Excepting the extremely rare circumstances of deformity or impairment that significantly alter physical progress, most people have no real idea what their potential is. So if you're going to try to be great at something, why not just choose to believe that you have sufficient or optimal genetic structure? Take a chance. Believe in yourself. Second, people will cry steroids, claiming that the possibility of an unfair advantage overrules this claim of value leading to success. On one hand, the people who are willing to take drugs to obtain their goal probably value it more than their counterparts. On the other hand, there is no drug to replace hard work. Personally, I know that if someone beats me in competition, it's because they outworked me, no matter the composition of their blood during training. The third cry is the weakest, that of circumstances, claiming that some people are going to be great because of the opportunities afforded to them when compared to their less privileged counterparts. Paul Anderson dug a hole in the mud, filled oil drums with concrete, and wrapped rags around a crude bar to increase his squat. Opportunities are forged. The people who get the strongest are the ones who fight to get there. Now that I've addressed some of the arguments against this claim of value leading to success, I want to examine a competitive angle. About a month ago, I saw a picture of Brian Shaw standing next to Sean O'Hagan. This 19-year-old Irish strongman standing at 6'11" made Brian look like a normal-sized man. I began to think about the next generation of strongmen. People are bigger, stronger, and freer than ever, and this trend will likely continue with respect to strongmen. I asked myself, what if the next generation of strongmen have the size of Bjornsson and the excellence of Savikas? If you think strategically about this, it can seem quite discouraging. I realized I can't force myself to grow another 5 inches. I cannot summon up the genetics likely required to gain and maintain a world's strongest man level of muscle. In other words, I can't outdo their genetics. I can't outdo their supplementation or drugs. I'll admit that I can't even outwork them. But I do believe I can outthink them. As the strongest humans on the planet continue to scrape up against the limits of human achievement, intellect and methodology will determine who will succeed at an increasing rate. The problem is that the vast majority of lifters neglect the intellectual pursuit of strength. They trust their coaches, trainers, or YouTube personalities to provide information sufficient for growth and progress. For me, none of these seem sufficient to gain an edge on the competition. In order for me to win, I know I have to know more than the next man. I have to understand programming, technique, nutrition, rest, everything better than he does if I'm going to win. Passion is great, and it's certainly required for success, but we aren't graded on our effort alone. Going to the gym 7 days a week and destroying every workout can take you far, but optimal training will always take you farther. An overinvestment in terms of effort and strain will not make up for the debt that is owed to the intellectual pursuit of strength. It confuses me how many people will invest decades into lifting without ever learning about periodization, programming, technique, or nutrition. Of course, everyone who works out has a general knowledge about any of these topics, but a serious investment is required before one understands enough to train optimally. For example, do you know how many times per week you should squat? If so, do you know why? Perhaps you can tell me that your back hurts while you squat, but can you tell me with certainty why it hurts? Better yet, can you tell me how you plan to fix the pain? Is the issue related to technique, programming, insufficient warm-ups, or overtraining? Without a broad and deep base of knowledge on each of these issues, the best you can do is take stabs in the dark and perhaps lessen the problem over time. Perhaps you see a chiropractor and learn how your tissue is interacting to create the pain, but even weekly adjustments cannot fix the underlying problem. I believe that true optimal training comes from a deep and continual growth of knowledge and understanding regarding oneself and one's relation to the methods of acquiring strength. Prior to moving up to Virginia in the fall of 2015, I was 175 pounds at my current height. I had been training for over 3 years and thought I understood how to best gain size and strength. My brothers had essentially adopted and taught me bro splits as a method for gaining size. I knew only to train each body part once per week and to aim for 8 to 10 reps on everything, while also maxing out sporadically. I had mistaken my beginner gains for verification of this method. The progress that I made in 3 years could have easily come to me in 6 months had I trained optimally. The shift in my mind began when my brother Austin recommended using 4 to 6 rep sets as a method of gaining strength. My bench press went up by 25 pounds in 3 weeks. Progress halted and I stopped gaining size as I moved all of my accessory volume down to this lower rep range. I was still stabbing in the dark, but I began to grasp my deep lack of understanding. In late October 2015, I made a commitment to do an hour of research regarding strength training every day. I've only missed 3 days since then. Now, the quality of the research certainly varies. I troll through the forums, YouTube pages, and any books I can find. When someone references a study, I go and read it, assuming it's available. Now, while having such a broad pool of studies certainly means I encounter people with opposing claims, it does not mean that I am blown about like a runaway kite by every changing wind. What I have found is that while there is immense disagreement between credible sources on specific elements of training and lifestyle, the things on which everyone agrees are a rock-solid foundation upon which I have built my methodology. Things like overload, adaptation, and SRA became my first principles, and a deep understanding of them alone will surely lead to a formidable competitor. The more that you learn, the more that you test and apply what works for you, the less susceptible you are to bad advice. My statistics professor once told me that the purpose of education is to change your instincts about truth. The more you learn, the more you know if your thought is heading in the right direction based on its compliance with your first principles. This is the scientific method, folks, and you don't get to abandon it just because you join the jocks instead of the nerds. There's truly a problem with quackery in the fitness industry, and the only way to avoid it completely is to simply get smarter. Why do we still have people claiming that green tea is the key to weight loss? Why do judgmental women and frail boys still claim that heavy weights will make girls bulky and they should just focus on toning? Why do some people still say that sit-ups are a key to the six-pack? This lingering stupidity is a poison to the entire industry. How can we expect the money to come back into these sports when social media is flooded with weight loss tea, 30-day squat challenges, and schemes to gain a six-pack in 3 weeks? People are being lied to and cheated out of their money, promised easy results, and chastised for not being committed enough by people with a larger supplement stack than their client's bank account. People need to be told the truth because they deserve the chance to improve their lives. This problem only fixes itself when you and I commit to learning more and to questioning everything. Establish a broad and rich foundation of knowledge. In my opinion, the 3 best books to begin your research are Scientific Principles of Strength Training, Starting Strength, and the Westside Barbell Book of Methods. Some people will immediately object because these books disagree with each other on several points, and certainly you have periodization, linear progression, and a conjugate method, respectively, all represented in these works. The point is not a wholesale endorsement of any of these systems, but rather to show that the common ground between these works is truly the foundation for training. Immerse yourself in different flavors of writing and methods of training, and you will start to develop an instinct in you with regard to what is legit and what is not. The point of pursuing strength intellectually is twofold. First, it will allow you to not be distracted by false or dangerous methodologies. You will begin to become a source snob and trust in the process instead of extravagant promises. The patience you develop as a result of this trust, I believe, is the true key to greatness. 1 inch at a time. Second, it gives you the power to think your way past any problem that you might have in the gym. Suddenly, every plateau or injury become an exciting new problem you may exercise your mind on. Creativity is, at its core, nothing more than problem solving. Understanding how to eat, how to train, and how to plan will give you the freedom to develop and adjust your own program as you go, every day in optimization. If you want to be the best, you must become the smartest and the most willing to learn. Many athletes are willing to destroy themselves physically, deprive themselves emotionally, and ruin their hormones for the sake of their sport. But many of these same people will not lift a finger to gain knowledge and understanding about themselves and their relation to the training. I truly believe that the future belongs to those who are committed to the intellectual pursuit of strength. There are so many resources available for those who just take the time to look. And if, like me, you truly believe in the positive power of physical progress, then you should be committed to weeding out bad ideas and passing along good ones to people who deserve it. I'm done with comfortable lies. Let's pass on the uncomfortable truths.